have to see.
That's true. We will have to see. All right, let's talk about the offseason a little bit, because I kind of want to look at Portland Trailblazers. The more I've been looking at Portland, the more I've been thinking these guys are really stuck between a rock and a hard place. You have probably the most loyal homegrown hero, well, not homegrown, but probably one of the most loyal basketball players, easy of this generation, in Damian Lillard. You got the number 3 pick, and you're shopping Anthony Simons in that pick to try to get some sort of all-NBA talent to bring to Portland to help Dame win now. My question that I'm posing, though, is that package going to be enough? What I have seen per The Athletic is the Nets aren't interested in playing ball. So Mikal Bridges is off the table.
Why would they do that? Mikal Bridges for the 3rd pick?
And Anthony Simons, yeah.
That's
what's being shopped.
Yeah, I don't think so. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I would ask for more as well, because when you look at the front office of Portland, they have been very vocal about how they're trying to get win now talent to help Dame. So why wouldn't you try to squeeze them for more assets when you have the opportunity? You know, I've seen links to them trying to pick up DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre?
Yes. Pick up Ayton. But I don't think Ayton is going to be enough he'll make them competitive, but that's not going to be enough either, you know? So I just don't see the guy out there who is going to help push them over the edge. Now, we proposed a DeMar DeRozan trade, a 3-way trade with the Utah Jazz and the Portland Trailblazers that I thought was a win-win for everyone. I think having DeMar in the photo, in the picture for Portland, does make you a lot more competitive. You're definitely going to be gunning for it, that's for sure. But what I'm wondering is, if you're Portland's front office, do you just take the number 3 pick and draft Scoot Henderson and then put Dame up? Or do you try to continue to shop this pick and shop Anthony Simons to see what you can get? Personally, if I'm being honest, I would probably trade Damian Lillard. And the reason is because you have guys like Anthony Simons, you have Shaedon Sharpe, who's going to develop into a very elite talent at one point. And if you get Scoot Henderson, you have a franchise point guard again, who one day is going to be an all-NBA talent. Plus, think about the assets that you could milk for Damian Lillard. What do you think?
I'm in the same boat here. I think, as unfortunate as it is, and Portland has even mentioned that they're willing to shop the pick, that they want to try and win now. The GM has said it, the owners, well, they want Damian Lillard to succeed. They want to try and win it all. But I think it would be tough, if you're asking the number 3 pick for Mikal Bridges, or the number 3 pick in Simons for Mikal Bridges. I personally, like we were mentioning, I wouldn't do it. I think Mikal Bridges is potentially a future superstar. He's averaging 26, 27 since he gets traded to Brooklyn. It's just why would you trade a guy who is incredible, who you basically know will be incredible for the next 5-7 years, for Scoot Henderson, who I think will be good, but there's a risk, the guy hasn't even set foot and played in the NBA yet. You can't just assume he's going to be the best talent ever, who's going to be better. It's going to take him 5 to 6 years before he's really a top guy. This is my opinion. I think he'll be good, right? But I think it'll take 4 or 5 years for him to be elite. Maybe a top 5 point guard in the NBA. And so it's tough for me to really see the trade option where they're landing somebody who's an elite player. I saw stuff okay, well, maybe they trade the number 3 pick to the Jazz and we give them Lauri Markkanen. But it's just
right.
Why on earth would you do that? Lauri Markkanen is potentially an all-NBA guy for the next like 3 to 5 years, he's going to be in contention for all NBA. He's going to be a guy who will be averaging something like 25 to 28 points per game, who is good. For somebody like Scoot Henderson, who I do think will be good again, but I don't think is like, okay, do you know for a fact that this guy will be an all NBA player? We don't, because he hasn't played yet. So it's just like, it's tough. So I think you have to try and trade Dame and just do the full rebuild. If you're able to get Scoot, which we don't even know he's going to be going there, maybe it's Brandon Miller.
Right.
And so that's something else to consider as well. But it's just like, I think Brandon Miller will be good. I think Shaedon Sharpe is a great piece. I even think Anthony Simons is still good with a rebuild. He's up and coming talent. He's great. And so it's just like,
Simons,
you go all in, I think, with that.
He's really underrated for the offensive production at the shooting guard spot that he delivers. He's like 6'3". He's like 21 or 22. He came off a season where he's averaging over 20 points a game. Anthony Simons is legit. Like, he really is. And I agree. I don't see, as a Portland front office, you want to be so loyal to the guy who's been loyal to you. And it would just be poetic justice being able to get him a piece that helps him win. I would love to see that. I love Portland. I love the city. I love the people. I love Dame Lillard. I love that he reps that place and he's ride or die with them. The only thing I don't like about Portland is the front office of the Trailblazers. I think that they are botchy. They've botched almost every opportunity to make a title run with him. They never should have let LaMarcus Aldridge go. They traded CJ McCollum. I love Dame. I love his love for that city. And like I said, I'm frustrated with their front office. And I wouldn't be surprised if their front office did something else incredibly irresponsible, because that seems to be the status quo for them. Sorry, Portland. You guys know it's true. Okay? You guys know it's true. You shouldn't have let Aldridge go. What were you guys doing? I mean, you shouldn't have let CJ McCollum go either. So I would
Did they get Jeremy Grant in that trade?
No, I don't think so. Another point, too, speaking of Jeremy, it doesn't seem like he really wants to stay there either. They have enough cap space to where they offered him what he was eligible for, the max contract of 4 years, $112 million, and he turned it down. It's $28 million a year. So, first of all, if Jeremy Grant thinks he's getting more than that, he's out of his mind. Sorry, bud. You just are. You're not getting more than $28 million. That's insane. That's tons of money. You should be very happy with that. But number two, why would you turn that down unless you didn't want to continue playing there? That says a lot to me as well. And I don't think that's on Damian Lillard. I think Dame sets a great culture there. I think the front office is botched. And I could see them trying to trade Dame, honestly, because I don't think that the third pick in Anthony Simons is going to get them the piece they're looking for.
Yeah.
Here's an idea.
I couldn't agree more.
Here's an idea. Would you trade Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, the third pick in the draft, and a 2027 for Jaylen Brown?
If I were Boston?
Yeah.
No. Why would Boston do that? Boston's trying to win right now. Boston keeps going to the Eastern Conference Finals every year. It's just like, that would imply that they're potentially trying to do a rebuild. Shaedon Sharpe is super young. When he came in, he was a rookie this year, and he was very young as a rookie, but they chose to do upside, somebody like maybe in comparison for this year's draft, the 2023 draft, somebody like G.G. Jackson, somebody who's incredibly young, but shows a lot of upside. I think Shaedon Sharpe kind of fits that bill, and I think he's good, but I think he's going to take 3 or 4 years to be elite as well. I just don't think Boston would be willing to do something like that.
Right. I mean, the only reason I ask and speculate is because of the narrative being pushed that, do you have to break up Tatum and Brown for this team to be successful? And we already kind of covered that. I was just kind of pitching that your way. I mean, I think if you're Portland, you still pick up the phone and call them and see. I think if you put Jaylen Brown next to Damian Lillard, whew.
I think if you were Portland, you're probably calling every NBA team right now trying to figure out something for Dame. But I think what it's going to boil down to, Doc, is that They're saying that they're trying to do something, and I think they are, but I don't think there's really going to be any results. They're probably going to end up talking with Dame and be like, look, we tried to get somebody. Nobody's really willing to give us an elite option. Would you like to be moved somewhere? And then he's probably going to be like, yep, I don't want to be on a rebuild. He's already been reported to say he doesn't want to be on a rebuild
several times.
And so he'll probably be moved somewhere.
Let me throw one more trade idea your way.
Okay.
Anthony Simons and the number 3 pick for Karl Anthony Towns. What do you think?
I think that Minnesota would want this. I think that Minnesota is wanting to do a rebuild, kind of, in a sense. They want to win. This last year, they went all in on Rudy Gobert, but it kind of failed. So I think they're going to be wanting to trade Cat. And it does do a decent switch up with Portland. I'm not a big fan of Cat. And so if I am Portland personally, I'm a little bit hesitant because I just don't think Cat really has a great mentality. There have been a lot of reports. Jimmy Butler, when he was with Cat, has mentioned that he just doesn't really care too much. There's been other reports. I know that in a post-game interview, even Mike Conley has come out and said, after losing this year, they were saying, we just got to stop playing video games and realize this is our job. We have to really try. And even Cat chimes in off the side. He says, what was that, Mike? And then Mike's like, oh, nothing type of thing. It was kind of interesting. You can find that on YouTube.
There's a lot of turmoil there.
There's turmoil with Cat. Is he a great talent? Yeah, for sure. And so maybe Portland does do this. If I'm a Portland fan, I don't know if I'd be too happy with it because I think that Anthony Simons is a great future guard and the number 3 pick could yield something incredible. But if you are trying to win now, maybe Dame and Cat would be a sick combo, and maybe that would make Jeremy Grant want to stay.
Yeah, last one. And this is all contingent to both of these trades. I mean, if you have to find a way to re-sign Jeremy Grant, you have to. You have to find a way to keep this guy. What about this one though? Simons, the number 3, and a 2025 for Brandon Ingram. What do you think?
I like Ingram. If I'm Portland, I am wanting to do this because he's great and he's not he's in his 30s. He's still got a lot of upside, a lot of potential. Great shooter. And, when Zion went out, he was leading the team and he was incredible still. If I'm the Pelicans, this could be a good trade option. If I'm the Pelicans, I'm looking at, potentially the future. I'm a little scared about Zion. Zion has been mentioning, he's like, I have to wait until, I'm Zion again, and he's not willing to get on the court until he's mentally ready, This could be a Markelle Fultz thing all over again with him. And so
incredibly alarming.
Maybe what you want to do with the Pelicans is okay, well, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the fact that Zion doesn't play a lot ever and that we are mediocre and we're not going to get any better unless we do some moves. And so that could definitely switch things up. You are trading a guy who's really good, who's potentially one of the best number 2 options, a really good number 1 option, and you're just taking a swing for the fences on who you're going to get at 3. If that guy's going to be an all-NBA player, a star, Anthony Simons is good. He could be a potential star. So it's something to consider. I don't know. What do you think about it, Doc?
I'd do it for both Portland and the Pelicans. And the reason why is because I agree. I think that you don't know the direction that Zion is going to be headed in. You have to get him with a real sports psychologist to get this guy's mind right, to get him confident enough to be Zion, whoever that is, back on the court. You have some good veteran pieces already. You have some gritty defenders. You have Jose Alvarado. Yeah, Jose Alvarado. Grand Theft Alvarado, baby. You have CJ McCollum, who understands how to be a good veteran on the court and off the court. He's a great locker room presence. You'd have a chance to draft Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson. I think both of those guys at their peaks will be superstars. I believe this draft coming up is the deepest one there is. And I would just start looking at ways to improve around that. Like you get Anthony Simons back, who is an incredible 2-guard. You can even move, if you want to, you can move CJ to the 1. You're going to have Anthony at the 2. You know, you're going to have to fill the 3 spot, but maybe you draft Brandon Miller and that's where you put him, you know? Mm-hmm. And then you got to find a way to get Zion's mind right. But yeah, I don't know what you do with that. They're going to have a lot of questions to answer. And so is Zion coming up here, because if he can't stay on the court, they're going to have bigger problems than just trading Brandon Ingram.
I think they'd be worse. I think the Pelicans would be worse short term, but maybe better long term.
I agree.
Thank you for watching another episode of the Full Court Press NBA podcast. For the full podcast, click the link below and subscribe for more hoops content.